Alright, hello guys. So many of you asked me for a build video and I don't really have much time to do this, so I'm gonna be pretty brief. I'm not gonna go super in-depth, I'm not gonna show the builds. But for those of you that are a bit less familiar, or even for those that are familiar but just want a refresher or want to hear my take, I'll just quickly go over what I think will be meta, what we will probably go in with. I will preface with saying that I want to be hyper specific, because it is a new sandbox, right? So certain niche things, like niche interactions, or strategies that our team could have, I don't want to just share those with everyone. So, I will give you guys an overview of the meta without being hyper specific, just to make sure I don't lose a possible advantage that I might have over other teams. Not sure. Just prefacing with saying that because I don't want to uh, be misleading or lie to your face and be like, yeah, this is the 100% comprehensive guide for a day one. It's gonna be a pretty good overview, but I will give you specifics after the race, especially tailored to the encounter, right? So if you ask me 5 hours after the race, yo, what did you use on this boss in chat, I'll reply to you with more specifics and with specific loadouts too and weapons for the specific encounter. So yeah, just prefacing with this. Now let's get into it. So the meta overall seems it seems like a very heavy Warlock meta to me, because Starfire is just completely broken right now. Your nades are insane, crazy damage with a 200 nade. And, Well of Radiance is Well of Radiance. So it looks to be a Warlock meta. That said, obviously, you need to play with a team comp that's not 6 Warlocks, because you wanna make sure you can add clear and survive well, since that's not super easy to run a Solar Warlock with just Restoration and Cure without other damage resistance. So you need to think about a team comp. Now we're thinking of playing 3-2-1, so 3 Warlocks, 2 Hunters, 1 Titan. We have been thinking this for a bit. If I have to be honest, this is the day one where I've been the most undecided in what to play, because in the past I've always played Titan, and the only exception has been my Witness clear on Hunter because of Still Hunt. Well, this time I actually have a reason to play all 3. The reason to play Titan would be it's still pretty good and I'm familiar with it. The reason to play Warlock would be Starfire. The reason to play Hunter would be the Oil, Side Arachne, Grapple Melee build, which is disgustingly broken. It's actually just, you are invincible. But then, it's a 6-man activity, so are you gonna get value of that? It doesn't really do anything on bosses, because grapple main bosses is weird. So there are a bunch of things to consider. Now, let's start from Titan, and then I'll move over to the other classes. So for Titan, if you want to play Titan, prefacing with the fact that it's also very important to play what you're familiar with. And if you did farm for illegal armor, it's important to play with what you farmed illegal armor for, because that does make a difference. When I went to my Hunter, I was like, oh, I can't get higher than 160 weapons for a damage phase, because I just couldn't. I didn't have the armor for it, right? So I would have to farm armor. That's probably why I'm not gonna play Hunter also. I would have to farm too much armor. I don't play the class, unfortunately, as much. And I didn't get enough grasp armor. While on Titan, I'm pretty set. On Warlock, I just have to farm a couple pieces, a good class item, and then I'm good. Anyways, so I'm thinking of just going in with Prismatic and playing Prismatic every encounter. If I have to be very honest, having Amplified versus not having Amplified, you're playing a different video game. It's basically changing from playing a -10 activity to a -30. That's the difference it makes almost, because targets just don't hit you. And when they do hit you, they do less damage. It's just so broken. So the main reason why I'm playing this over Strand is Amplified. Just to put that out there. It's just too good to miss out on, in my opinion. Now, how do you play the build? I was just thinking of playing my classic, Earth of Immost, Synthos, class item. Having a bunch of font mods. I'm sure you guys know that font mods are very good with the stat rework. So super font mods. This is not a finalized build, so don't look at the mods I've on, but I'm giving you the general idea, then you can make decisions, because I also don't know exactly what's meta. I haven't tested enough, I haven't played enough with the new sandbox, Anyways, so a bunch of font mods on your helmet for super, just to recharge it faster, even if you don't care about the damage. finders are very good. Stuff like Radiant Light, Powerful Friends isn't bad, because maybe you want to give armor charge to your teammates for their fonts. Siphons aren't bad, so those are things to keep in mind. On your gloves, heavy-handed or firepower if you're Warlock, like melee font, maybe grenade font, depending on your build, like good stuff. You can have a loader if you feel like it. I had this for the scout, but I'm not gonna have this on day one. But the point is, you have a bit of freedom here. Chest piece is just triple resist mods, no questions asked, the classic. I know there are like some new mods for those ammo generation mods. I don't know if they're good, so I'm not gonna like comment on that. But very hard to give up a resist mod. So even if they're pretty good, you probably don't want to take the trade-off. Because ultimately being consistent in a day one and not dying is the best part, right? Is the most important part. Then, moving to the boots. When you're like not in a damage phase where you need surges, you might as well run weapon fonts, because weapon fonts, sure, they don't give as much damage as a surge, right? But they can increase your weapon stat, which means you get more ammo. That's a good thing. Yeah. Recuperation is worse, but I don't think it's terrible. It's personal preference maybe between recoup and better already. Scavs, obviously, like you would want one scav in running encounter, especially on boss encounters during mechanics, definitely run the scav. And when you get to damage, you run the triple surge, or, a combination of surges depending on whatever you need to do. So pretty classic stuff there. Class item is similar to before, powerful attraction. Probably worth running time dilation for more font uptime, and then you run a class font if your class needs a class ability. That's up to you. I think a big value of Titan is that when you're buying the barricade, you gain 80% DR to AoE damage. Now, hard to do this in a team of 6, hard to do with bosses that are newish in the game because they move a lot, they make you move a lot. I'm just putting it out there, like, the barricade has value just for the DR, even if you aren't on arc. And yeah, I mean, the subclass will be the usual, like, knockout consecration, protection, ruin, purpose, courage. You can take off ruin, but gives weapon, so that's good. You just gotta make sure one player on your team is running, like, solitude, unless you want the hunters to sever, but, the classic stuff there. Frenzied Blade, Glacial Nade. I could swap this out, but I never play without Glacial Nade. It's too good for Transcendence regen. That said, weapon-wise, I'd be Eager Edge for non-boss encounters, probably. Unless I really need a machine gun, which I don't think that's the case ever on Titan. Then, probably not taking off the Lost Signal, because it's just, very good for Transcendence. And then, I usually play with Zauli's Bane. You don't have to play Zauli's Bane. You could play Velocity Baton for Attrition Orbs, although I heard it's actually pretty bad. I like to play a lot with double special Lost Signal and Lord of Wolves. That's very valid, I think. And when you're out of Lord of Wolves ammo, you swap to a primary. Then, I mean, you... Obviously, if there is not swap, you can't do that. But they haven't said that, so it would be insane if they put not swap in the raid. So I'm assuming there isn't. It would be crazy to make us make loadouts for free loadouts, and then there was not swap in there. It would be very cringe. So I'm just assuming there is not. Which also means by proxy that it's going to be a very loadout swap heavy meta, because you're always going to want to be supering on max intellect and then damaging on max weapons, right? Like, I was putting together some loadouts, they're not finalized, but very high intellect, font mods, very high weapons. You see, like, it's going to be a very loadout, swap heavy loadout. Then it's still good on your damage loadout to have, especially on your super loadout, it's good to have high weapon stat in case you cannot make a loadout swap. Example, you're playing Puppeteer, the lightning is scary, you don't want to risk loadout swapping. Well, if your weapon is 140, it's better than if it is 100, right? So something to keep in mind for boss encounters. Stat-wise, again, my build isn't finalized. I don't even think the melee stat matters much on Titan. I like to have some weapons, some super, some melee. For a clear encounter, I mean, I just have to, like, think. Maybe some more class, because, if I play Thruster, which I like to for powerful attraction, I feel like I don't have enough class, and then I can't grab my orbs, and then I die, and, So it's... I just have to think about this. Like, I know you're saying, oh, the raid is, like, less than 24 hours. I know, but I'm still, like, testing things. Still need to get some armor. Like, it's pretty complex. It's a pretty big system change, and having the raid 4 days after is scuffed. So I hope you still appreciate this video, even if, you know, it's not anything crazy. Yeah. I mean, Sunshot is still good, but, you know, it's not what it was, I guess, right? There are some options you can use. There's this Cope Glaive. Probably want to use it. Blending GLs could be on the table. Rocket Sidearms are very good. Outbreak would be very good, but it's disabled, right? Yeah. I mean, Widowed for one player is still good. I don't know. Does Widowed work with multiple players now? I know Air Denials got changed. I wonder if Widowed got changed. That's worth testing. Probably not. Yeah, Tractor, Xeno, but I mean, there are a bunch of other weapons not on my characters now, like Queensbreaker, Eason. Like, for DPS, Queensbreaker, Eason, Lord of Wolves is your, you know, go-to usually. Pretty obvious stuff. I'm pretty sure Ground Overture is good too. I just have never really used it. I don't really like the weapon. I don't think there is much more here to say. You know, there are so many different cope strategies, like, oh, trench barrel shotgun on Song, or like, oh, the double shotgun cannon because they like do more DPS to like red bars. It's like, bro, there is so much stuff you can use. I don't think this is gonna be the difference maker, right? Like, so again, this is a general guideline, I suppose. Before I swap character, I should say that if you don't want to play Prism, which is valid, I think, why would you not play Prism? Do you want Arc on boss? Cool, you can play Arc. If you play Arc, you probably want to play Alpha Loopy and then swap to Curious. I haven't tested Alpha Loopy much. When I did test it, the healing didn't feel that good, like the healing and the class ability regen. Of course, you're still borderline invincible behind the barricade because of the DR. But, you know, I'll have to retest Alpha Loopy. I'll probably do it later. Didn't feel crazy, to me, at least. I would run Shock Frequency, Ions, Resistance, I think, but maybe not Ions. Maybe I'll swap this for something else. I'd have to think. Magnitude isn't very good without Touch of Thunder, so you could run the one where your melee it's harder after the melee you, just because I'm pretty sure all those things are better now since melee things aren't multiplicative, right? And by proxy, yeah, like this one. Feedback is pretty good. There's one where you sprint and then your class ability regens faster. A bunch of like options here, up to you. Then of course your class would look like very AIG class, very AIG weapons, because that's how you play. I'm pretty sure that's an archetype, so you can focus that. AIG super for when you're curious, and yeah, I mean, that's about it. Maybe AIG melee wouldn't work. Health is a stat that I should mention. You don't want like crazy AIG, but I also don't think 30 or 40 points on it are bad. Like, you want your orbs to heal you, like that's value. So some points on health are never bad. Like, it's not a dead stat at all. You can even like ditch recuperation if you have like, I don't know, 50 health, because maybe you feel like you're fine with that amount of healing. Strength is an option. Grapple Mill does insane damage, stacks with Grenade and Melee bot multiplicatively with the stat. It's insane. I do think the subclass is risky to play because now the Woven is 5 seconds on orbs, so for 10 seconds you need the Tangle. You don't get amplified. Like, when you don't get amplified, like, the game is cooked. We're probably spoiled by amplified, so we don't like realize, but it makes an insane difference. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Solar is kind of the same thing. Like, I haven't played with New Exotic much, but it looks so sketch to need to get Solar kills before you can utilize the Exotic effect. So you'll probably be on Synthos if you are on Solar, but even then, no amplified. And your mini hammer doesn't hit that hard, you know? Like, it hits harder than a Consecration probably, because Consecration is nerfed. But even while nerfed, there's crazy AoE, crazy DR. You have like Thunder Crash Behemoth, you know, you have like value on Solar. I don't know. The Healing Nade is value, the Panic Super is value, but I find it hard to justify this in the current sandbox, personally. Now, again, everything apart from Void Titan is an option. All the situation where you would run Void is, I guess, if you need Banner Shield, but that would be very weird. Like, it would have to be a situation where Raven is like throwing fire at you, you know what I mean? Now, Warlock is very simple because you either play Starfire or you play Died Warlock. Like, there is no other options that are viable, I don't think. Chaos Reach is Scope. Kinda got killed by not having the healing on Bolt Charge procs anymore. you know, both charges worse. So like, I think it's pretty cope to play Chaos Reach. Stasis is terrible. Void is, I mean, it's not a bad subclass, but it's pretty mid. Like, yeah, not comparable to like those other things. So on Warlock, it's very simple. You know, you play Starfire and you get to 200 grenade. If you can get some weapon stat too, that's good. Everything else can go to super, can go to class, can go to melee. Maybe not really melee. You don't really need like the radiant melee, right? You can get radiant from the artifact here. Just use a solar weapon. Yeah, if you play Warlock, you probably play Starfire. Very hard to justify using Sanguine, in my opinion, when you could just be throwing grenades, right? Because, you know, the difference is that Sanguine is good, but you need ammo for that. Starfire doesn't need ammo. Like, even if you have less ammo in a phase, you still have Starfire. Total damage is super important in day ones, especially if you are not familiar with the new ammo system. So you might, like, you know, not play it at its full potential. I like to play Icarus Dash, Touch of Flame. Icarus Dash also heals you when you get airborne kills. I know people like to play Ilion, do whatever you want. I think Icarus Dash is better, but it's... Playing Ilion is valid. I wouldn't play It Rising. That sounds very troll to me. Obviously, you'll play Shield Crash if you play Starfire. Other options for Warlocks, I've heard Boot of Decembers don't work very well. So either Luna Faction, if you need to like Lord of Wolves a boss from like 70 meters away, or I guess you can play Speaker Sight. I heard it's been nerfed to 10 seconds from like 15. So it throws like max 3 nades and then goes away. That's still probably one of the best exotics in the game. Like before this change, it was the best exotic in the game, no questions asked. Now it might be just S tier, you know? But Starfire might be S plus this patch. So maybe you just play Starfire, you know? Yeah. So for Warlock it's very simple. Again, grenade fonts on your gloves. 1 or 2. You probably run a firepower. At least, just to make some orbs. If you are struggling with orbs, you could play multi-mech. I just think the weapon blows. Like, you know, it makes orbs, but the damage is terrible, so compared to an N-Cannon. Up to you. I'm just saying, it's an option. Yeah, again, my stats are messed up. I didn't make a build here. I haven't touched my Warlock this season yet. I'll play a bit with it later in case I need to swap to it for a damage check. But on your helmet, usual stuff. So Finders, super font, good. Siphon. I mean, the helmet is the same for every class, let's be real. Chest piece again. Resist mods. Usual stuff. Again, on the legs, you can run some weapon fonts. Recoup. Better already. Those stuff are not bad. Maybe Innervation isn't bad. You need to like play with it and see how it feels. I don't have like... I'm not only being vague for the sake of like, oh, I don't want to give specific strats. But it's really due to the fact that I haven't made builds and I just don't know exactly, right? I'm very knowledgeable about the sandbox in general usually, but this change is so broad that it would be weird for me to act like I know exactly what's better, right? Like I have a generic idea, but I can also like be wrong. Again, powerful attraction, time dilation, class font, all good stuff. You will just play Phoenix Dive because why not? Now Starfire works on Radiant. And that's probably it. I don't think there is anything like too crazy to mention. You know, rocket sidearms are like good weapons even for Warlock. I don't know why they have such an high like ammo gen stat for being a special. Like it's all messed up. Lord of Wolves is like 100 ammo gen stat and it's a special. In the old system, like Prima is gen ammo faster. I don't think it's the case in this system. I haven't tested properly. I will test. I don't know. But rocket sidearms are good. They seem to be pretty good. What else? I mean, should mention if you use rockets, you need to use Galley. I'm sure you know that. That's pretty basic. I'm sorry if this guide ends up not being easy to follow for people that aren't much into the game, but that's just not what this is because I don't have the time to go into specifics, right? Like, and to explain like, yo, why should you use Galley with rockets, right? This is more aimed towards people that know to play the game, like to do day ones, either clear or try them, and they want like an idea, right? So on Hunter, Oil Said Arachne, very good. You know, Hunter has so many good class items, honestly. I think Oil Said Arachne is the best, but you know, you can do so many things. You can play Synthos if you feel like it, even if it's a bit riskier. I think Liar is disabled. You can play Assassin for the invis, but I guess you don't need to. You have Stylish. You can play some renewal stuff. I don't know. You can do whatever you want, honestly. But I'd say also the Arachne just gaps everything else. It's not even close. You can play it with the grapple. You can play it with another grenade of your choice. Up to you. You can also not do the whole combo blow build with the grapple. You can just play Oil Said Arachne on Threaded Spike. That's super valid. That's probably what we're gonna do. So you don't have to worry about anything. You just sever the room and you chill. Ascension, most broken thing that Hunters have. Like, the reason why you play an Hunter is because of Ascension. Because you can make the Warlocks amplified. Like, in general. Not even the Warlocks, like, yourself amplified, the Titan amplified. It's just nice to make people amplified. Because it's so good. I'm sure you guys know how good amplified is. Like, since they made it so enemies miss you, it's just crazy. These are the fragments I was running, but that was the grenade build. Again, you can run the severing one, kind of up to you. Gold is very good. During damage, you Nighthawk swap with max intellect, right? And Goldie. Make sure you have the orb, so you want to get the font right. Then, you know, I think they fixed the bug where if you insta Goldie, it does 10% more damage, like if you hold the left click, but you still get more damage with the Radiant if you aren't in the well, you know, like the Goldie thing. But usually not worth doing in a day one. Or I mean, you can think about it, but don't like go out of your way to do it, I guess. Tether is a good super. I mean, Science and School isn't bad. Also because then you get Frost Armor from Purpose. Going over the armor, you, let's say, run the same things again. Super Fonts, Finders, maybe Siphons, Powerful Friends, Radiant Light. Then on your gloves you run, I don't know, it doesn't matter, like you don't need a lot of stats on Hunter, honestly, just do whatever you want on your gloves. You can probably use things to make orbs if you feel like it. It's just like, your things come back so fast that like you're fine. Oil Said Arachne makes it so good. Because you also have this artifact mod, right? More grenade and class ability stat when you Woven Mail. Which, I mean, you can't drop Woven Mail with Oil Said Arachne. You have Tangled Web that suspends things. It's just so strong. Then Helmet is, sorry, Chest Piece is kind of the same. Resist mods. Boots are kind of the same. Probably some weapon stat. Maybe, again, Recoup, better already. Scabs. Powerful Attraction. Time Dilation. Now that Powerful Attraction works with Ascension, that was like an insane buff, right? You can heal on orbs when you use Ascension. Class font if you need. Classic stuff. And you just play Prism on Hunter. I don't see a reason to play Solar. Like, doing Salvation's Edge, but even in the past, there was like a reason. We were like, okay, maybe it's worth playing Solar because we have healing nades. It's safer. You can play even Stompies because Stompies give you 30% DR when you jump. There were reasons to play Solar. Now there isn't. Like, Side Arachne makes it so it's 20 times safer to play Prismatic. Everything else on Hunter is kind of like just worse. No reason to play Void over Prismatic. I mean, Arc and Strand are just bad. Stasis is for transitions if you want to Shatter Skate. I feel like that's no reason to sugarcoat it, right? Like, I feel like Hunters have variety, and they might be the class with the most variety if Side Arachne gets removed from the game. If Side Arachne exists, Prism just like wins, right? Otherwise, Solar and Void would have like a lot of play. Maybe even Arc possibly, but no, not with Side Arachne in the game. I'll go back to Warlock just 1 second, only to point out that I didn't talk about Slide Warlock, but on Slide Warlock, you just play, I think, you know, Devour, Lightning Surge. You probably can run the Weekend Nade thing. You don't need the Radiant here, like, you know, yeah. The Fragments, you would run this, I guess. You probably run Needle Storm for Woven Mail. Kind of up to you. Mods would be the same. The class item is the conversation, I guess. You can run Synthos Assassin or Synthos Oil. Probably Synthos Assassin a bit safer in a day one, because yeah, going in Viz, you know, it's nice. Other things probably aren't as good. So yeah. I'd say this should cover most things for like Lightning Surge Warlock. I haven't played it much. It's pretty similar to Consecration, you know, your loop is like get Transcendence, use your melees, like get Transcendence again, you know, like you guys probably know how to play this better than me. I'm saying it's more damage than Consecration now, because Consecration got the Ignition not nerfed since it doesn't scale anymore. So if you need a melee build, if you're feeling like Starfire isn't good, you can go this on Warlock. You don't need to like swap character or do anything crazy. Like, it's a very good build. You can play it on Song of Flame too, of course. I hope this like covered most things. I'll just real quick go over the DPS meta again. Queensbreaker, Ezen, and Lord of Wolves, I feel like are the three main things. I don't know if anything else comes close. For specials, you can really use whatever after to like follow up. You could follow up with like a fusion, like a Cartesian. You could follow up with like a Predates, a Cloud Strike. Like, if you want to load out swap after you're out of heavy, you can kind of do whatever you want. There are so many options. I haven't even really retested every special. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty niche, you know, like, usually in the day one, you don't need to do anything too crazy. Yeah. So, if you use your heavy properly, you're probably fine, I want to say. On Slide Warlock, I'll say it's going to be good. Again, weapon stat is not bad in any class, but it's probably going to be very good to have Aig melee. Because on Titan, I told you to not run like 200, because if your Ignition isn't scaling, then it's like, does it really matter? But on Warlock, it does scale like linearly, right? Like, you gain full 30% more melee damage if you have 200 melee. So like, consider doing that, especially if you feel like you need more melee damage. There is definitely more value in running Aig melee stat on Warlock than there is in any other class. On Titan, you probably don't care because, again, Ignition's not scaling or Mini Hammer refunding anyways, so you only will gain the damage. Or on Strand, you'd want the grapple melee to hit hard, so you'd want Aig grenade stat, because the grenade stat is 65% extra damage, while the melee is only 30, right? So if you need to like buff your grapple melee, you would want to buff grenade. I guess then your regular melee on Strand Titan would be worse, but like, you don't really care about that, I don't think. And same for Hunter. If you use the grapple melee on Hunter, you want Aig grenade for sure there. Again, melee there would help stacking combination blow faster, but do you really care? Like, you gotta make trade-offs. The stat system is actually pretty good. The only like big flaw it has is the illegal armor. Like, I wanted to play Hunter, and I'm like, fuck, I can't get more than 160 weapons because I didn't get illegal armor. I could get like closer with new armor, but you know, I'd have lower intellect. Like, they have to fix the illegal armor rolls, like either sunset them or like buff the tier 5 rolls so that they're better. Or, yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. Because the system is pretty good otherwise. Maybe some form of like stat lock so that on raids you don't like start odd swapping stats 18 times per damage phase, because that's pretty cringe. Right now the meta incentivizes like odd swapping loadout like crazy. It shouldn't do that. I don't know what the solution is. Whether it is like, you know, lock loadouts or not swap, or even just like if you change your stats, they don't go above 100 for like 10 seconds, so to say, for example, or like 5 seconds. So that, for example, if you swap to a build with like 200 grenade, then you don't gain the 200 grenade for like 10 seconds, and for those 10 seconds you only have like 100 grenade, right? They could do some hybrid like things that don't make your stat spike like crazy after you loadout swap. But that's beyond the point of the video, ultimately. It's just a proposed solution in the future if they want to limit how much we are swapping loadout mid damage without making it feel cringe. Because I can see like how lock loadouts would be annoying, you know, and not swap is annoying, and you know, all of that. I think I went over almost everything. Verity is a good exotic, but I feel like it's sketch to use. Obviously stuff like Cenotaph and Aeons are still in the game, so if you feel like you need to make use of it, make use of it. I think I went over everything. I hope you guys enjoy the raid. We're gonna race. I mean, the stream is gonna be starting around 2 hours before reset, I wanna say, roughly. I have muted comms and blurred buffs. I hope I won't need to have a black screen. Like, if I have to, I'll have to, but I hope not. And if it is, I hope it's short. Because I do want it to be as watchable as possible, I guess, while still protecting some info we have. Like, you know, I mean, like, if you figure out a mechanic, I don't want to give it out, right? But that strongly depends on the raid. If the raid isn't like Salvation's Edge, it probably won't matter, right? Like, while in something like Salvation's Edge, where like Verity is like that, Witness's Test is like that, if you gain info and then you just give it out, you kind of trolled, right? So we're gonna have to see how the raid feels for that, but I'll try to do my best. And then of course the VOD will be uploaded with all comms and unblur and everything on YouTube shortly after, as long as my internet like works. And what else? Yeah, I think I'm gonna run 8 minutes of ads. I'm just saying, like, for transparency, like every 15 minutes there will be 2 minutes of ads. I kind of have to run some ads during day one because it's like a big day for a Destiny 2 content creator. So yeah, if you want to sub, you don't get the ads. If not, well, I'm just saying there is a possibility of a black screen. So like, I wanted to like be transparent about it. Don't like sub and then be like, yo, you black screen for 30 minutes. That can happen, okay? Sub if you want to support at your own risk. Yeah, that's beyond the build video point, but I wanted to like, yeah, specify it for transparency. Cool, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I might have forgotten things. I probably forgot a lot of things, but again, I tried my best to keep it short and kind of simple. See you guys, good luck tomorrow.